Hey friends, my goal for today is to pull out my old water pump. I had put water in the system and it did not circulate the water, so starting there with some diagnosis, I'm hoping that I put the new pump in and fill her up and everything just runs fine. Alright, so here is the old water pump. It's pretty big, but there it is. Something that I noticed when I was pulling it out about the wiring is that the red was wired to a black wire and the black was wired to a green wire. So I just kind of took note of that, and I guess we'll see later, hopefully when I plug the new one in, or wire up the new one, it fires up. Also, compared to the new one, let's see. So the new one is quite a bit smaller. I'm hoping that most of that is just modernization of technology. It looks like this one might be from 2000. Not totally sure. But here's my new one. A few things. The amperage is less. The old one uses a maximum of 7 amps. The new one uses a maximum of 4 amps. Also, the flow of direction. So right now, if they're both mounted, they flow opposite. This one flows this way, while this one flows this way. So we're going to have to do some little trickery and figuring out to see if I can get it to mount in there without making any major changes. I have mentioned that I've been a little underwhelmed by the design and follow-through that CR Designs did while building this van, but some of the things that I found under the water tank and the water pump are just kind of amazing. Here's a really thick piece of copper wire. I don't know if you can see that, but it's way thicker than any other gauge wire I've found in this van so far. And then lots of little, like, wire stripped pieces, some piece of, like, they drilled some white plastic and then just left it in there. Yeah, that's quite a bit of little treasures there. Looking at the placement of the water pump, without having to do any major wiring or hoses, I cannot have it where it was. It was sitting back over here behind the water tank, underneath the electrical outlet. And it can't go there the way that it is right now. So another idea is that I can put it up here, under my black water tank. That's something really exciting. In my first or second video I was like, it has a tiny black water tank, this is useless. Well, it turns out the black water tank doesn't end way back here, it actually comes all the way up to here. It's not an efficient use of space, but I do have more black water storage, so that's pretty exciting. So I might be able to put the pump under here, kind of touching the black water tank. Turns out, I think that the best place to put the new water pump is to just mount it right on the side of the water tank. My hoses will be able to reach, my wire's going to be able to reach, and I'm going to be using my space the most efficiently in terms of packing other things under the bed space. So I have cleaned the side of the tank and the attachment points with Windex because I'm going to use some 3M VHB tape. This stuff has been great. I don't know that I can say enough great things about how it has worked so far, and that I'm probably going to just keep a roll of it around because it's been awesome. So I'll put 4 little squares on it and mount it up. That I want to be careful of here. Right now the feet are kind of sitting at angles. I think the idea is that once you screw it in, it's going to hold it up nice and high. So I just want to make sure that once I stick it, because you only get one stick shot with this tape, that I get it right. And the other thing is that my wires are in the right place. I'm going to try and put it flush on the ground, so I can't have the wire coming out this way. And I think for the longevity of the wires, I'm going to try and have it coming out. So I'm just gonna, gonna try and pay attention to that. Plan B, or maybe this is C or D. The VHB tape doesn't really like this soft black rubber. So I think what I'm going to do is mount it to a thin piece of plywood and then attach it with VHB tape to the side. We'll see if that works. I contemplated attaching everything first, the wires and the hoses, but it's kind of a tight space, and I'm really playing with all the extra space I have next to my black water tank, so I want to be able to get everything in and then move my tank into position rather than having all of this stuff with such a little margin for error. So there we go. It's in, it's wired, the hoses are connected. I have put some water in my tank. Time to test it out. I just realized I better not have stuff in my sink, just in case, because I don't really know. So, here we go. Oh, it works! It works! I just filled my sink up with water because I had been playing with it, and it was open, and I didn't know. Now I know what closed looks like, but it works! Oh my goodness! Whew. I'm so excited. Alright, so now I know that the sink works, and that water comes out of both hot and cold, just out of this thing. And now it's time to test the toilet and do a leak check, because that's important. All of the sink connections are dry. Also, I ran it for, I don't know, maybe like a minute and a half, and I barely accumulated any in my gray tank. There's definitely some like algae that had grown in the hoses, so I guess I'm gonna have to bleach it. Not totally sure on that, but gonna have to do something because green goo came out of the pipes. Also, I realized the cold water just makes it drip a little, and the hot water actually makes it run and for the pump to click on. And it clicks right back off. And then it drains into the gray tank, so those are all working properly. Alright, now for the toilet. So rinse is this one. Oh, that's so gross. And flush is this one. Well, shucks. Alright, so what's happening with the toilet is that the rinse function is adequately adding water, and the flush function is adding water, but the lever thing in the bottom, it's not releasing the water, so it's just hanging out there. I think that mechanism might be broken. Alright, so the first leak that I found is actually my gray water tank is at the exit point. It's just kind of leaking, so I'm gonna see if I can adjust how well that's attached.